when I went to Bible school, and I remember going because I'm being completely honest with you guys. I went to Bible school. I actually went to worship school first. And I said, I want to go worship. I want to learn guitar, and I want to learn to sing. I want to learn to lead worship, because I literally thought I was going to be the Black Chris Tomlin. Look, serious. I was going to travel all over the world, and I was going to lead worship. That was what was in my heart. And you see me now. I'm not all over the world, but I'm standing up and I'd actually rather preach than sing. I'd actually rather minister than sing. Don't miss this one. Sometimes God will speak something to you to get you in the arena and then change the whole vision on you. Because God will grab you like, hey, look at this. Isn't this a yes, Jesus? And you'll get inside, and he's like, all right, so this is the rest of what I have for you? All of this. And that's when you have that moment like, but I was just cussing yesterday. My mouth is not clean. Like, you don't know. Like, that's when we start giving God our excuses when we see how big it is. Right? That's what literally I got there, and then it was like 3 weeks in, and I was like, ugh. I'm not going to be able to leave. I got to get everything out of this place, because there's something deeper than worship here. But here's what happened. In the first couple of weeks that I was there, they would allow the students to lead worship before school. So the school had classes from Monday through Friday, 9 to 12. And so Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, they would have 15 minutes of worship. And so the worship school, we would get a chance to lead worship. And I remember I came in because I had been leading worship at my church for about 3 years before I went into worship school. I just wanted the next level. And I remember this clearly because I went in and I was automatically, I was sizing up everybody else. And I'm going to let you know that this was my heart issue. I had a pride issue. I was automatically sizing up everybody else. Am I better than them? Am I better than them? Am I better than them? And I was looking at that. And I didn't realize, I realized, but I didn't realize it. I knew what I was doing, but I didn't know it was a problem. I was just like, I'm here. God's going to expand me. Like, I was looking at me. And I remember they stood up, they asked everybody, hey, who wants to be able to lead worship? My hand shot up, bang, because I knew I had already done this before. I was good. I was qualified. I was in my wheelhouse. Be careful. Whenever you feel super qualified for something, be careful. Yes. Stood up, went to sing. And I remember leading worship the first time. And this is one of the first things I learned about worship. Our worship leader is amazing. That guy today, wow. Because there's a difference between driving worship and letting worship flow. I learned very quickly, you don't drive worship with a whip. Worship flows like a river. Right? Worship, it has to flow. It was amazing this morning. It literally was like a river this morning. It was like sitting in a boat and just being carried by the current. It's exactly what happened. I'm sitting here and I'm driving worship, and I'm like, man, people really aren't worshiping. People, what's happening? And I was driving it so much that when the 15 minutes was up, I was like, no, we need to keep going, because we didn't break. We didn't do what we had to do. And the pastor was coming up to transition, and I was was still going. And I remember after I handed the mic back, it was one of those that like God grabbed. Like, it was literally like I felt my heart break. And I was never asked to lead worship again. I was a part of the team to sing. When I finally learned guitar, I played, but I was never asked to lead worship. My heart was broken in it because I knew. I was like, I knew something was wrong. Something was not right. And through a series of events, I realized that I was there more for me than for others. Two years later, I had left worship school. I finished. It was a one-year track. I went into the second year. I had been on the streets preaching. I had led Bible studies, started Bible studies in small communities in Florida, doing so many things. My worship was the furthest thing from my mind. 2 weeks before we had graduation, I said, Thomas, we'd like you to lead worship for our morning chapel for the week. And as soon as they said it, my hand didn't shoot up, my heart didn't nothing. They came specifically to me. And as soon as they said it, I realized I'm inadequate I don't think I'm ready for this. And they said, no, we want you to lead worship. They literally said, we want you to lead worship, so you're going to lead worship. Thank you. And they walked away. And in that moment, I felt as though, you ever played that game where you had like an egg on a spoon You had to walk with it. Like you be playing, like you're like, yeah, okay, whoever could carry this egg to the other side quickest, and it's like one of those, and you have to do it without dropping it. And you see people rush, they go real fast, and it falls. I felt like somebody had given me an egg and put it on a spoon and said, Thomas, accomplish this task. It was so precious to me. I was like, God, I don't want to break this. I had been so broken that it shifted me. And it shifted me. And I need you to come understand something. God will break you so that it becomes less about you and more about him. Look, this is John. This is John the Baptist. John the Baptist is saying this. John replied, they're speaking to him. His disciples came to him and said, you realize that Jesus is also his disciples are baptizing. People realize that. John said, no one can receive anything unless God gives it from heaven. You yourselves know how I plainly told you I am not the Messiah. I am only here to prepare the way for him. Listen to John. He's like, it's not about me. I'm preparing the way for him. And he says, it is the bridegroom who marries the bride, right? It is the bridegroom's friend, and the bridegroom's friend is simply glad to stand with him and hear his vows. Therefore, I am filled with joy at his success. Watch this. He must become greater and greater, and I must become less and less. It's no wonder that 6 months after Jesus is baptized, John the Baptist is beheaded. Because it was all about John up until the arrival of Jesus Christ. Once Christ had come, John the Baptist was no longer needed. John said, I have to become less and less. And I've got to ask you this question. Are you willing to be broken to the point that you become so much less and less and less that you fully die to yourself and become alive to Christ? See, the only way God can take your not enough and make it more than enough is if you're broken enough.